Aussie Millions is put together. Started with 418 players. It was a $10,000 buy-in. Over $3 million was in the prize pool. The top 48 players wind up in the money. Hi again, everybody. Barry Tompkins, Michael Koenig alongside. And Michael, now everybody's going to get at least a piece of the pie. So how do things change from here on out?
Well, it's a very different psychological mindset. What could have been a rather expensive vacation down under now becomes a potentially profitable experience. All these players are on what amounts to a free roll. It's all upside. But with that freedom comes a tendency to be a little bit reckless, and you've got to be careful to not play with so much abandon that you just give away your chips. We're going to be watching to see which players can take advantage of the situation and build up a nice lead. 6 great players. Let's get right to it.
The blinds are still 2 and 4,000 with a 500 chip ante, so 9,000 in the pot. And this Fondieri really has the goods here.
Jacks it up 12,000. The other players are going to have to find a real hand now if they want to play.
Not going to be Michael Rotz.
Oh, Liebert has one. She says she's all in.
Just like that, right into the teeth of his Fondieri.
Now, Barry, Liebert's in a very strange position right now because of her short stack. Normally with her hand, she probably wouldn't want to raise 106,000 more on top of a pot like that, but she's in that position where anything less probably isn't enough, and so she's going to have to go with the 8s.
Do you have a pair?
That was kind of a tell-all, wasn't it?
Guess it's now or never. What do you have, ace jack?
The magician is trying to make her disappear.
118 total? Total.
You know, as long as Kathy Liebert doesn't have kings or aces, I think Fondieri is going to be willing to play this hand here. He knows he's at worst about 50-50 against most hands, and if he was fortunate enough to stumble into an ace-king versus ace-queen or ace-jack kind of situation, he'll have a huge advantage. And there we see it. He's all in, and Liebert, in the coin flip, actually has a nice little edge on this hand.
And now the flop. 9, tray 7.
As Fondieri will need an ace, king, or running clubs. There's one.
Ooh. So a flush drawn
it's
out
never
for
easy, right?
Fondieri. And you can see he's still the underdog here. And it's a 7. And a big sigh of relief.
I sweat a little bit on the 10.
Kathy Liebert, as she had to guts it out right down to the last card and managed just to double up through his Fondieri.
I never win with ace-king. It doesn't seem fair that other people should win with it against me.
And all of a sudden, Kathy Liebert is healthy again. 245,000 in that pot. She's now a force. And the magician is now rather low.
Well, it's just as you were saying. You're already in the money. Go for it. She did. She wins. As we said, a very experienced player is Kathy Liebert. But that said, has a lot of respect for the young players she's sitting with.
It's amazing how many young players are playing these major tournaments these days. A lot of them are 20-something years old, and they are really good considering they've had not that much experience. I think the growth of the internet and the growth of poker on TV has really made a lot of these young players very competitive very quickly, and they're tough, and they're not afraid to put their chips in. You know, it's tough to bluff these young guys too. I mean, they don't have a lot of fear. You know, I mean, with inexperienced players, you don't know if they're willing to put their chips in with a marginal hand, what kind of hands they're willing to play. So I would say that in general, you don't really want to try to bully the young guys and try to show them. You kind of want to have a hand against them because they're likely to call you or make a move. You know, they're unpredictable.
I think she makes a very good point, actually.
She makes a great point, and the phenomenon that I'm just so stunned by is where all these kids in their 20s come up with a $10,000 buy-in. I mean, I was happy to buy macaroni and cheese at that age.
That's right. Kathy Liebert again with an ace-10 suited.
And moreover, as Kathy pointed out, they're willing to gamble with that big buy-in. They will move their chips.
It's amazing what happens when you have no sense of value, isn't it? Natoli with a little pair.
And he calls Kathy Liebert's 16,000 chip raise there, hoping to spike a 2 and win a very big pot.
Now Bay with a decision, ace little suited. Here's one of those young players, actually, that Kathy Liebert was referring to.
Yeah, and he's getting 3.5 to 1 on his call. He probably doesn't think his ace-4 is the best hand, but he could make something big with it. Well, there's a 4.
Yep, 10 queen and the 4. So pair for Bay, and of course a higher pair for Liebert.
Natoli has completely whiffed on this flop, and so any sort of bet should probably get him out of there.
And Liebert will make that bet, which will likely get Natoli out, and does.
Now Bay really doesn't have much of a draw here. He's got bottom pair and no straight or flush possibilities, and he makes the correct fold.
Yeah, he does. He throws it away, and Kathy Liebert will win yet another hand. Look at the stack that she has. She was short stacked just a few moments ago before doubling up through Esfandiari, and now bounces right back and wins this hand. So Kathy Liebert is on a roll right at the moment. We're coming back to the PartyPoker.net Aussie Millions. We welcome you back to the PartyPoker.net Aussie Millions. Barry Tompkins, Michael Koenig alongside. Our main table, a good one tonight. Very competitive here at the Crown Casino. Beautiful evening in Melbourne, Australia. Antonio Esfandiari, who lost a whole bunch just a few moments ago, still trying to hang in there. He's a World Series of Poker bracelet winner, and you know, he loves playing here in Melbourne, he says.
This is by far the best structured tournament I've ever played in. Blinds go up very nice and slow. The rounds are an hour and a half, and you get a break after every round, which is the way it should be. It's the perfect structure for a tournament. Early on in the tournament, I was in a couple of really bad spots, and I ended up getting very lucky to come back and get to where I am now. But the last 2 days, I think I've played very well, yeah. My style is usually pretty aggressive, and I usually like to have a lot of chips, and I usually do. However, right now I don't, so I can't really do the Antonio stuff. I kind of have to take it easy and wait for the right opportunity to do whatever I can.
There's a very distinct difference playing with a big dominating stack and a small I just need to hang around stack.
Which is where he is right now. Liebert a little pair here.
The great thing about Esfandiari and all these very seasoned pros is they know how to play with both kinds of chip stacks and even the in-between. And I'll tell you what, that will help right there.
I would think so. I doubt that he's going to get contested by Bay, and he won't.
Well, now he's got to hope Grotz in the big blind finds something.
Let's see.
Yeah, Grotz only needs to put in 8,000. He gets a discount because he's in the big blind, so Esfandiari is hoping Grotz will catch just enough on the flop to get in trouble. Ooh, and that might do it.
Could.
Grotz probably will check here, knowing that Esfandiari will bet this flop. What Grotz doesn't know is that Esfandiari is holding the boss hand.
Yeah, he is. 15,500 is the bet.
About half the pot. That's a very enticing bet. I expect Grotz to play here. He's got a big piece of the flop. Middle pair.
Grotz trying to get a read on Esfandiari, and I think failing in that regard. Queen on the turn, and that's
a fantastic